So, you find yourself on the UnrealEntGaming channel. How fortunate for you. I, Lord Frieza, will spare your life as long as you subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, don't forget to become a member of UnrealEntGaming's Patreon for tons of exclusive content to early access media and much more. Do it now, or else.
So with Dragon Ball Daima Anime Episode 13 now being the first episode to kick off the year 2025 as the series slowly begins to near its end, our heroes are shown having to continue on their journey and having to slowly but surely reach Goma's castle, as I want to welcome you all to my Dragon Ball Daima Anime Episode number 13 review, as we immediately kick off the episode by having to see Goma and Degusu, which I think need to be showcased far more than they already have been shown within the series, kind of go as far as to acknowledge the fact that with our heroes on the way, Goma is not happy whatsoever. So what he ends up making Degusu end up doing is Goma ends up forcing Degusu to kind of shut down Warp-sama, because Warp-sama is an instrument having to be used in getting our heroes from one location to the other. Because what this ends up going as far as to do, given that our heroes' ship, surprisingly enough, is going down during the middle of their mission, is this pretty much prompts our heroes to remain within Demon Realm number 2 for just a bit longer, which I kind of enjoy because we haven't really seen much of Demon Realm number 2 whatsoever. And funny enough, even as the ship was shown going down, if you go as far as to pay attention to the evil Namekian known as Neba inside, while everyone was panicking and worrying about the ship having to crash, Neba on the other hand was actually smiling on the way down, which is kind of why I like this sinister Namekian, because you can tell just based on simple things such as him having to smile as they were going down on how sinister his nature truly is, you know? But even despite with their ship having to be shown going down, we see how both Pansy and Bulma immediately spring into action by trying to fix this ship. But even then, once more, one of the things that I really like about this episode, or more or less throughout the entire series, is seeing how Glorio was once again connecting and speaking with Dr. Arinsu, because throughout this entire ordeal we have come to the understanding that Glorio is a traitor. When exactly is he going to reveal himself as being a traitor? We don't know, but we see him talking to Dr. Arinsu. We see how Dr. Arinsu kind of understands as to what is happening with our heroes, kind of tit for tat, because Glorio just continuously seems to inform her as to where they're going, what they're doing. So I think that's a pretty good thing, especially if our heroes are gonna ultimately come to see the revelation that Glorio isn't who he said he was from the beginning. The overall episode from the early start wasn't as intense or action-packed as we've seen several of the previous episodes kind of immediately go into jumping right into the action against the Tamagami. So this was something a little subtle, this was something a little different, and dare I even say this was a very tension-filled episode, because even with our heroes like Goku being shown exploring this massive unknown jungle within the region in which they crashed, we see how Goku inevitably ends up getting attacked, and I kid you guys not by saying this, gigantic hamsters. I know what you guys might be thinking, but as silly as it may seem, because it was really stupid to see gigantic evil hamsters attack Goku, it was just one of those things where it is kind of like a callback to OG Dragon Ball a bit with its silliness. But it wasn't just one evil hamster, no. There were dozens and dozens of these gigantic evil hamsters, and it looked so stupid with these hamsters being shown attacking our heroes, because they were literally trying to cannibalize and just massacre Goku on the spot while Goku was laughing. And it's kind of funny how Goku didn't really fight back as much, but over on the other side we saw how Vegeta was actively trying to destroy them. So that's why I like these characters in this series thus far, because you get to see how Goku's more of like the naive child type throughout all of this, you know, while as Vegeta, he's beating people up at the club, he's trying to blast hamsters on the ground. So that was pretty cool to see. But even then, it wasn't just the giant hamsters that our heroes had to deal with, but instead they had to deal with now what essentially looked to be a gigantic demon alien-esque kind of farmer, because the sheer size of this thing, you can even go as far as to argue, is probably one one of the biggest characters I think we've ever seen in Dragon Ball, and that really goes as far as to say that this thing by comparison looked to be bigger in my opinion than a Great Ape or perhaps even Anilaza, Horudagard, you know, characters like that. So the moment this gigantic thing just started stepping around, kind of looking around to see what got the hamsters all riled up, our heroes were absolutely shocked to see this because they didn't know how to go about this entire situation. So it's not like this episode was anything like, I guess, something sort of similar to that of episode 10, episode 11, episode 12 in terms of its intensity, but the episode itself I think did a really good job in showcasing depth and scale, because even though our heroes were very small by comparison, a lot of the creatures in this demon world are absolutely massive, and I do think wholeheartedly that is needed, because even though with our heroes having the ability to transform into Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, hell, even going as far as to say Super Saiyan 3 with Vegeta now, none of that really matters, I think, when removing that, because of how little our characters were by comparison to either the giant hamsters that were shown in this particular area or even the giant farmer himself, along with his little dog, which, mind you, didn't really look like a dog, so everything here was kind of exaggerated per se, but we understood that it kind of represents that of a dog the way this creature was chasing our heroes. So one thing for me is that Vegeta is, again, I think in my opinion, one of the MVPs, because Vegeta showed very aggressive tendencies in going up against such creatures, because unlike Goku, who was kind of playing around and he was laughing, even though he kind of sort of was in danger, Piccolo was actually trying, Vegeta was definitely trying, and I think that's why I like Vegeta more than anyone else in this series, because he's so angry all the time, and he seems to be so ticked off by having to be in such a place that he doesn't even want to be here to begin with, let alone having to be that of a child-sized fighter. So that is why I think this makes everything that much worthwhile, because of Vegeta's character in this series. But it was kind of funny to see how Bulma and Pansy were desperately trying to fix this ship, all while our heroes were trying to handle this gigantic farmer's dog, until getting the attention of the farmer himself, because whether or not our heroes had the ability to do something to kind of prolong the overall situation, they did, and they did go as far as to try, but despite their best efforts, I guess these guys don't really want to go as far as to harm anyone that's there, because it's not like Goku or Vegeta or even Piccolo were trying to actively destroy this farmer, but more or less get him off their backs per se until the very end, which they did manage to be persistent enough in keeping him at bay until they were finally able to escape, which I also think is kind of funny to see how Vegeta became a Super Saiyan and using this ability to go as far as to continuously blast this farmer over and over again to get his attention, which again also goes as far as to show us how powerful, or at least how durable, these enemies are, or at least some of them in the demon realm during this time. But by the very end, they finally managed to find a way to escape, and escape with everything intact, which this ship has a tendency to always crash or always kind of break down during crucial times. But the overall episode itself, even though it wasn't anything close to episode 10, 11, or 12 by its very nature, I would go as far as to say that it was better than perhaps maybe episode 2, episode 3, or even episode 4. So I think this was somewhat of an episode that went as far as to kind of showcase what is in the demon realm, and kind of go as far as to showcase all of the other threats outside of the Tamagamis per se, because with our heroes' sole mission still having to be to actively pursue Goma in locating his castle and finally having to reach him. But even now, by the end of all of this, I want to go ahead and get your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below about what you guys thought about Dragon Ball Daima anime episode number 13, and more importantly is, where would you guys go and place Dragon Ball Daima episode 13 when compared to Dragon Ball Daima episodes 1 through 12, and having to from there be ranked from top to bottom from best episode to worst, because with Dragon Ball Daima now having to near the end of its run, as the series is rumored to end roughly between February and March of this year, we can only go as far as to speculate as to how this is all going to culminate as the episodes themselves begin to grow more intense as the weeks go on by. So I want to be able to go ahead and get your thoughts down in the comment section below on where you guys would rank episode 13 by comparison to the previous 12 episodes, to which, as always, I want to thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful new year coming up ahead, as we are bound to get more Dragon Ball content as the weeks go on by, especially with the Dragon Ball Super manga rumored to return between February and March of this year as well. So we can only hope to see bigger and better things come. But again, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for being here, to which, if you also just so happen to be new to this channel and of course love Dragon Ball and anime, then I do encourage you guys to head on over and smash that subscribe button, on top of also making sure to go and give this video a big fat thumbs up by smashing that like button down below, tune back in for more, and with all that being said, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you down in the comment section below and in the next video. Take it easy, everybody, and have a wonderful day. Peace!
Hello! Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to UnrealEntGaming?
Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms, you sexy son of a bitch.
Roshi!
Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch.
Roshi, the fuck?
God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video.